Rapunzel. There were once a man and a woman who had long in vain wished for a child. At length it appeared that God was about to grant their desire. Through the small rear window, they could see a splendid garden that was filled with beautiful flowers and herbs. A high wall surrounded the garden, and no one dared enter because it belonged to a sorceress. One day, the woman saw a bed planted with Rapunzel. It looked so fresh and green that she longed for some. This desire increased with every day, and not knowing how to get any, she became miserably ill. Her husband was frightened and asked her,
"What ails you, dear wife?"
"Oh," she answered, "if I do not get some Rapunzel from the garden behind our house, I shall die." The man who loved her dearly thought,
"Before you let your wife die, you must get her some of that Rapunzel, whatever the cost."
So, just as it was getting dark, he climbed over the high wall into the garden and took Rapunzel to his wife. She at once made herself a salad of it and ate it greedily. It tasted so very good that the next day she longed for it 3 times as much as before. If she were to have any peace, the man would have to climb once again. Therefore, in the gloom of evening, he let himself down. But when he had climbed over the wall, he saw the sorceress standing before him. "How can you dare to climb into my garden and steal my Rapunzel? You will pay for this,"
"Let mercy take the place of justice,"
answered he.
"I only made it out of necessity. My wife felt such a longing for Rapunzel that she would have died if she did not get some."
"If things are as you say, I will allow you to go on, but under one condition. You must give me the child that your wife will bring to the world." In his fear, the man agreed to everything. When the woman gave birth, the sorceress appeared, named the girl Rapunzel, and took her away. Rapunzel became the most beautiful child under the sun, so the fairy locked her in a tower that had neither stairs nor door, but near the top was a little window. When the sorceress wanted to enter, she called out, "Rapunzel! Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Rapunzel had splendid long hair, and when she heard the voice, she let her hair fall, and the sorceress climbed up it. A few years later, a prince was riding through the forest. Nearby the tower, he heard a song and stopped to listen. It was Rapunzel, who was singing with her sweet voice. He rode home, but the song had so touched his heart that he returned every day and listened to it. One time, as he was thus, he saw the sorceress approach and heard her say, "Rapunzel! Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Then Rapunzel let down her strands of hair, and the sorceress climbed up them to her.
"If that is the ladder into the tower, then I will try my luck."
And the next day he went to the tower and called out,
"Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair."
The hair fell down, and the prince climbed up. At first Rapunzel was terribly frightened, but the prince began telling her that his heart had been so touched that he could have no peace until he had seen her in person. Rapunzel lost her fear, and when he asked her if she would take him as her husband, she said yes. She said, "I would go with you gladly. Every time that you come, bring a strand of silk from which I will weave a ladder. When it's finished, I'll climb down and you can take me away." One day Rapunzel said to the sorceress, "Frog Gothel, tell me how it happens that you're so much heavier for me to draw up than the young prince." "You godless child," cried the sorceress. "What am I hearing from you? I thought I had separated you from all the world, and yet you have deceived me." In her anger, she cut off Rapunzel's beautiful tresses and took Rapunzel into the wilderness. Then the fairy tied the cut-off hair to the hook at the top of the tower, and when the prince called out,
"Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair,"
She let down the hair. The prince climbed up, but above, instead of Rapunzel, he found the sorceress, who peered at him with evil looks. "You have come for your mistress, darling," she cried scornfully, "but you will never see her again." The prince was beside himself with pain, and he leapt down from the tower. He escaped with his life, but the thorns pierced his eyes. Blind, he wandered for some years, finally happening into the wilderness where Rapunzel lived. He heard a voice and went toward it. Rapunzel knew him, fell on his back, and wept. 2 of her tears fell into his eyes, and they became clear once again. He led her into his kingdom, where he was received with joy, and for a long time they lived happily.